Mike's gonna be a little late.
As I was wondering if people were kind of crossed up by the show being 8 o'clock last week.
No, I don't think so. Ahead of time. We are live. Maybe.
Which means for you viewers out there, you have a couple minutes to tell all your friends about us.
He says he's in the waiting room. It's because I missed him. I try I'm futzing around here. Sorry, Jeff.
So Jeff has now happened to him what he did to Patrice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today.
That's karma right there.
I never know what these links sometimes people miss, especially if I send the email ahead of early, it gets buried. Mm-hmm. Mike's going to be a few minutes late.
Wait, you're letting Mike on the show?
I can't believe it. Yeah.
I'm out.
I did not know you played the trumpet.
Oh, well, there you go. Now you know.
I just watched your Road to Max Luck show.
Classically trained, but then moved into jazz.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me start social media stuff.
I'm a rock guy. I'm classically feral.
With time and patience, Ben, we can housebreak you. We'll probably have to start with some crate training, but you know.
Oh, trust me. My college choir director couldn't.
Well, then I guess we're just going to have to get a big crate so you're comfortable.
All right. Let's do this.
Ben, the heat you and I have been experiencing the last couple days, it's Colorado, so it's flip-flopping again. Today, our high was 73 instead of 80, and it's supposed to start snowing tonight, and then snow through Saturday.
Yep. Summer has decided it would like to stay a couple more days.
Yeah.
So it has extended its stay through Saturday.
Oh, that makes sense because about the time it's wrapping up for us should be about when it's rolling over you.
Yep. So we're gonna have one more day in the 80s, another day in the high 70s, and then by the time we get to Monday morning, there may or may not be light snow.
Yep, this checks out.
It's 83 here today. Broke a record.
Yeah, yesterday I went to the river to get on to have a little time at my favorite public beach. I found I was 3 feet underwater.
Oh, wow. Surprise.
Yeah.
Could have had 2 feet water like Florida.
Yeah, I've never seen the Mississippi rise this fast or this high this fast.
Wow.
Because the last time I was down on the dock, there was a good 3 or 4 feet between the dock and the water. Well, that same place on the dock this week is now 3 to 4 feet underwater.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Check out the link that I just dropped into the Zoom chat. I just learned something.
Ooh.
House of Constantine.
It is the house of Admiral Constantine from Rebels. In other words, every time you see an article, the author will get demoted.
All right. I got that. Master Dawn. Master Dawn.
The hell? Getting notices that Dave Ginsburg guy is talking about me on the internet again.
Yeah. And Jeff, yes, I did change. The fact that my Hawkeyes polo kept disappearing was kind of a problem.
I just thought you were doing your best, Captain Kirk, and the Tholians were screwing you up too.
Was it yellow? Was your shirt yellow?
Yep. It had the yellow. It had yellow on the sleeves.
Nope, I won't be able to. Mike is not on Facebook. Where's that guy? There he is. It's public this time. All right, we are socialed. Give Mike a couple more minutes here. We can probably get started and then have him jump in after he joins us. Hello.
Have either of you had a chance to watch today's Picard?
Not yet.
I got up this morning and watched it early because I wanted to avoid spoilers.
Yeah.
So I heard something in the final episode's going to be in IMAX theaters. I saw.
It deserves to be.
Yeah. I guess what they're doing is tonight's episode and the last episode back to back in IMAX, which makes sense because then it'll run like a Star Trek movie.
This is episode 8 or 9?
9.
God, that's almost over.
Yeah, I'm not going to offer up any spoilers because that's not how I roll. Instead, I will say, I really enjoyed the episode, and that's all I'll say.
Yeah. I will say it went exactly the way I thought it would.
Yeah, I remember you telling me how you thought it would go, and I was thinking of you as it did. Yeah. And I won't elaborate on that.
Yes. I mean, it went no way, which I thought it would.
Yeah, I did think it was funny how you're just pulling ideas out of your ass thinking you knew what you were talking about.
But I will say, as it continues, they spoil the entire season in the end credits.
I suppose in a manner of speaking.
Yeah, you just don't know what to look for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's something so far from every episode in the end credits. So I suppose if you really wanted to hyperanalyze the end credits, you could go through and start eliminating bits and pieces, but just don't.
Okay, I will give one spoiler, which is really funny. They finally verbally recognize how overarmed the Enterprise D was.
All right.
Oh yeah, they did.
We'll go ahead and get started, and then Mike will jump in after he gets here. Sounds like a plan. Start audio hijack. Looks good. All right. Episode 249 in 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to episode 249 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and I've got our usual suspects here this week. Ben Reethic's here. How you doing, Ben?
I'm good, Dave. Fueled up on a little bit of Picard and really nice weather.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about Picard pre-show. It's coming close to an end. I'm very sad. But also here, Jeff Gamet. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing all right. Like Ben, I enjoyed this week's Picard and also this week's Mandalorian.
Yeah, I gotta catch up because we got both of them here. So
yeah, look, you do need to catch up.
We got another guest here. Mr. Mike Potter made it to the show. How you doing, Mike? And you're muted. While he works out his microphone.
How about now?
There he is. How you doing, Mike?
Now? Terribly, terribly late. I'm so sorry for
not a problem. Not a problem at all. Glad you're here. Glad you're here.
Jeff looks seriously annoyed that I'm late.
Well, I mean, I wasn't, except Dave just kept going on and on and on about that Mike Potter and unreliable. And finally I was like, whatever.
Why wouldn't he go on and on about, about unreliable? Oh, wait, no, that's not good.
No. Not at all. So glad to have all you guys here this week. Got some good news stories. CarPlay has been quite a bit active in the news. We'll be hitting that a little bit here. Some changes in the streaming world and iOS 16.4.1. Very important to install that. We're going to talk about that. Beta keeps rolling on. Got the new version of that coming out. Some rumors, and I'm going to hit a couple good tips this week. So, and of course, we might even sneak in talking about MacStock, but we'll see. No, we will. So let's go ahead and dive into the news this week. Speaking of CarPlay, this first story here is apparently now you can order a pizza from CarPlay because, of course, apparently everybody wants this. Domino's Pizza rolls out an update that adds the CarPlay integration into its iOS app. Drivers are therefore allowed to order pizza right from their dashboards. Ordering food from the car is a common thing these days, but most drivers still rely on the traditional phone call method, you hope. Although a lot of restaurants have gone in with their apps, and people don't be ordering your food while you're driving on your app, because that's dangerous. You might end up on the side of the road here. So, but it's quite the trend here to see where this is going when it comes to this type of integration with restaurants. I mean, I think Dunkin' does it and a couple others. Yeah, I'm going to see more of these coming soon. What do you think, Ben?
I think it is mostly a good thing as long as people don't abuse it and cause traffic accidents.
Exactly.
No pizza, not even lose is good enough to die in a traffic accident because of.
This is true. And for those of you listening who are not a Chicago person, Ben is talking about Lou Malnati's pizza. So yes, we shouldn't be. As much as we love that pizza, you should not be driving and trying to order at the same time unless you're on the phone.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to order it from the car while it's in motion, have your passenger do it.
This is a good idea too. What do you think, Mike? Would you order pizza from your car like that?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't order pizza. I'd order ahead. You can always schedule when you want deliveries. Why do I need to do it from my car?
Yeah,
but what I did hear you saying, though, Dave, is that you can do it as long as your car is not a GM car.
This is true, which we'll talk in just a moment about. And Jeff, what do you think?
Kidding.
Would you order pizza from your car?
No. Now, keep in mind, I also have a dairy allergy, so I typically don't order pizza at all.
Right.
On the other hand, it's all about marketing. So
it is.
If you can win a coveted spot on the dashboard of someone's car, then that's a marketing win for you.
This is. So just call, do the normal thing, like Mike said, just order it over the phone, pre-order it, it'll be ready, you go there, pick it up, and be done with it. But speaking of CarPlay, there's been quite a bit of chatter in the news this week about GM, General Motors, all of a sudden making a bold move here, deciding that they're no longer going to support CarPlay or Android Auto, for that matter, in their future cars, which specifically Chevrolets and Cadillacs will not get that, because GM is looking to expand upon EVs and going to all electric. A lot of these car manufacturers think they're going to be in 2030 that they're going to be all electric. I just find it hard to believe we're going to be at that point. But why would they do something like this and think that someone's going to want their proprietary system and not CarPlay or Android Auto? I just don't understand. Jeff, what's your thoughts on this?
How I was just talking about having a coveted spot on the dashboard. This is a really good way to lose, everyone looking at your dashboard. There are people who buy cars specifically because they have CarPlay in them, and there's no way that GM can spin this as a positive for users, because whatever system they create, it's going to be created by a car manufacturer, and they don't know how to make user interfaces, period.
Right.
The other part that makes this absolutely suck is that this is an exploitation of their customer base. And there's a growing number of people who find it very distasteful to buy a product as expensive as a car, and then find that all their data is being mined, their privacy is being exploited, and that does not fly. This is a bad move.
Yeah. Before I get to the rest of you guys, Webb, and good to see Web XP in our chat at youtube.com/intouchwithios. He's saying GM wants subscription revenue. I would probably tend to agree with him on that.
Of course they do.
That's where everything is, because Apple, specifically with CarPlay, they control that revenue. Android Auto is probably a little more looser with it, but but that's going to be interesting to see if that is the case, and they want people to subscribe to their proprietary service. What do you think, Ben?
I'm a person who has a 40+ year relationship with GM.
That's right.
My great uncle was a Chevrolet dealer. I grew up a Chevy super fan. And I thought it was absolutely amazing when they chose Mary Barra as the CEO. Well, if this comes to pass, GM will be on that same list with Rivian and Tesla on vehicles that are automatically off my list. I'm not going to change my entire workflow because GM wants subscription revenue this way.
Right.
I can agree with they should be trying to get that subscription revenue and maximize their profits. but they're doing it in a way that could alienate some of their most loyal customers like myself.
Yep, that's it. And you are a loyal customer to them too. So,
Mhm.
Mike, you have CarPlay in your car? I don't recall if you did or not, but
No, my car is too old. I don't have CarPlay. Both of our cars are too old to have it. Oh, no, that's not true. We could have gotten it with our 2014, but it was not built in like it is to every car now. It was a quite expensive add-on at the time.
Yeah.
So we opted not to get it. But my question is, when has a walled garden ever been good?
not very
When?
often, if at all.
I think people forget how hard we fought to get out of the walled gardens of the internet back in the 90s to
Mhm.
finally have an open and free ecosystem that we could enjoy.
Yeah.
And I keep seeing these companies make attempts to bring the walled gardens back over and over and over again. It's never been good. And every time it happens, everyone pushes back against it.
Yep.
They relent, and then it starts again in 10 years. And and that's kind of what GM is doing. They're building a walled garden for their cars for folks who want to connect their phones, whether it be Android or iOS, to their car. And they're either going to pay or not pay. And it seems to be the trend, doesn't it? When you look at Tesla and you look at some
Tesla,
of the other
Rivian,
manufacturers who are creating these exorbitant subscriptions to use services that should be basic to the vehicle. It's silly. It's
Right.
silly, and it's just good. Like as Ben said, it's going to drive people away.
It is. Well, but meanwhile, Ford announced today that we're committed to CarPlay and Android Auto. So our cars are going to have, and trucks are going to have it going forward. So, got articles for both of those in the show notes here. So they did commit. So it's going to be a selling point over other EVs like GM, Tesla, and Rivian. I really think that GM is going to need to really seriously think about this, because they're going to lose a pretty huge customer base. Because like we go rent cars. I mentioned this before. When you rent a car, I have to have CarPlay. I'm not going to rent a car and not have CarPlay in it. I mean, I think when I was on my vacation in Vegas a couple weeks ago, and I got into one of the cars, it doesn't have CarPlay. I can't. I'm done with this car. I'm going to try to find another one here. So you have to have it. I mean, I know two of you guys don't have it and don't know it as well, but Ben and I can attest that it's a very much value.
Yeah, I mean, with my current vehicle, it came down to the Hyundai that I currently have and a Volvo XC90.
Mhm.
The reason that I passed on the Volvo, which I actually preferred, was because I could not install an aftermarket CarPlay stereo in that vehicle.
Okay. Yeah, because it's got all the functionality that you need to access a lot of the stuff in the car.
Yeah, I will eventually have CarPlay, regardless of whether or not I buy a new car anytime soon. My Prius is compatible with double DIN systems, so I'll be eventually popping out the built-in system and putting CarPlay in, because it matters that much to me.
Yeah,
Dave, you said a thing that their GM will lose a lot of sales. I don't think they're going to lose as many sales as we think, because while there's a lot of value in CarPlay and people who want CarPlay, there's a lot of people that buy their car based on what it is that they want from the car. They want a specific GM vehicle or whatever it is. And they will continue to buy. And a lot of those people are buying their cars today, not even knowing that they support CarPlay.
Yeah, but it's also Android Auto, so you have an audience of on both sides of the coin here. So
yeah,
I agree with you, Jeff. I agree with you 100%. I don't think as many people are going to abandon brands as we might suppose that they're going to, just because CarPlay isn't in there. But Dave raised a really interesting point, and I don't know if you realized what you said when you said this, Dave, but you talked about car rentals. when people go in to rent a car and they're told that the car that they want to rent doesn't have CarPlay, they're going to ask for a different car. And
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
more people start doing that, what are these car rental companies going to do? They're going to stop buying GM. They're going to stop buying the cars that people say they don't want. They're going to buy cars that people do want to drive around.
Mhm.
That's
And
a really good point.
that could really, really hurt GM in a way that
Yeah.
they may not be thinking about. It's not the individual customer. I agree with Jeff. It's not the individual customer.
Right.
I think it's those fleet
purchases.
vehicles that,
Yep.
yep,
The rental fleets.
that might be where the problems are. Think about fleet vehicles for, let's say school districts or for communities or,
Business.
cities.
Mhm.
This may be a very essential piece for them to have within the vehicle, CarPlay, so that they can communicate best with their employees or staff or what have you. If they can't get it, they're not going to buy the car. They're going to buy something different.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
And,
mean,
and yep. And getting back to the fleet thing, EV rentals are becoming an increasingly larger thing. A lot of it so people can kind of try before you buy.
Mhm.
And I mean, if the EV they get does not meet their needs, they're not going to buy that vehicle.
Mhm.
And I mean, EVs are a large enough premium and a large enough purchase, and the buyers are a lot more savvy than the average car buyer. So they are going to do their due diligence on that vehicle before they put down that money.
Mhm.
so all right, we'll see what GM does. They'll just, I guess they'll stick with this until further notice. Next stories here. Firmware upgrades have been sent out to all the AirPods Max, AirPods Pro. It was a new firmware for all the AirPods basically this week. It was updated since January and November of last year. So they, of course, Apple never tells you what they do as far as updating this, and there's really no standard way of upgrading them other than just making sure that they're connected to your iPhone or your iPad, and it should force the update after a period of time. And then the article here does still go through and tell you, it shows you where to go in and then actually check to see what firmware version you have. But you're probably not going to see much because we don't even know. And also, Apple kind of changed this now that AirPods users with a nearby Apple device can visit an Apple store to update their firmware if they're not if they didn't install it through their iPhone or iPad or Mac. I don't know why you would want to do that. Honestly, I think most of us have Apple devices that I don't think you'd really need to do that.
Oh, I can tell you why. There are a lot of Android phone users who
Oh,
like
that's true.
AirPods.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, yeah, that's true because they could be Android, the Android phone, and they cannot and a PC versus
Mhm.
a Mac, and so yeah, I guess that's a good thing.
Yep.
Well, that's
And
their
even
fault
more
then,
so-
isn't it?
No, it is their fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all on them.
Yep.
all on
And
them,
even more
so.
so for the AirPod Pro's corporate cousin, the Beats Fit Pro.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. And YouTube Premium, they just released, and they now are offering SharePlay and enhanced 1080p video on the iPhone. YouTube Premium subscribers will be able to soon access SharePlay and that enhanced video with a higher bit rate on the iPhone. YouTube said both features are going to be available on the iOS app in the coming weeks, and it's probably going to be a couple weeks after we recorded this. You'll be able to watch YouTube videos with your friends and family while you're doing a FaceTime call together. It's got the enhanced 1080p option. Look extra crisp and clear, so why not? I mean, I'm a YouTube Premium customer, so I do enjoy not having to watch all those ads. No, this is good. This is good to see Google and YouTube doing this. What do you think, Mike?
Oh, I'm sorry. You just said you're a YouTube Premium subscriber, so please don't take this the wrong way, but YouTube Premium is a freaking ripoff.
Okay.
It's a ripoff. $20, 20 plus bucks a month. They just raised the price, didn't they?
I'm still paying
What a
$10 a
scam.
month, so
Way too much. The only reason it's useful is if you want all the music. I don't need a music subscription. I have the music I want. I don't want a music subscription.
Yeah.
So for me, total ripoff. I'm paying what, what am I paying a month for Netflix? $10, $12, something like that. And they want 20 for YouTube? Nope, sorry, not going to do it.
I didn't see that they raised the price that high. I mean, like I said, I'm still paying the $9.99 a month for it.
I mean, the article says it is $11.99.
Yeah,
For YouTube
$11.99.
Premium?
Yeah, it's not. You might
Why
be
they
thinking of
offer it to me
YouTube,
for more?
YouTube TV that had
No,
the
YouTube
enhanced-
TV is like 70,
$80.
the
80.
premium, like the 4K. You can pay extra for that. Yeah, YouTube TV is annoying with the way they've got that
Well, I
pricing.
stand by it. It's still a ripoff.
That's fine. It's fine.
No, those commercials aren't too bad. You can skip them usually within 5 seconds or so, and that's fine. My finger is always over the OK button on my remote, so I just wait for that skip, and then boop, there you go. They're all gone.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm fine
I
with
should
it.
probably pay to make the commercials go away, because I actually have serious emotional distress every time a YouTube commercial comes up. And I'm like, seriously, right in the middle of someone's word? Seriously, that's the best you can do?
Yeah.
Screw you, YouTube.
Yeah, right,
That is a
right in the middle
problem.
of your
That
video.
is a problem. I
they-
agree.
they-
Yeah.
Though
pay
I
for
do
that.
have to say, it gave me a slight bit of pleasure when a YouTube ad interrupted an in-video ad.
Oh my God.
That's great.
It's like adception.
I like it.
That's great. Then moving on here to some security updates. We'll talk about the latest version of iOS here in a minute. But they did some urgent security updates for decades old Macs and 8-year-old iPhones. So much for planned obsolescence. This article in iMore here. They released 4 new software updates to help make older devices more secure, because these exploits were pretty serious. So that means iOS 6S is the oldest phone, supporting iOS 15.7.5 was released. And on the MacBooks, you got going back to Big Sur and Monterey updates as well. They are still updating those older versions for those of you who are still using those, which is that's kudos to Apple for keeping those devices safe, because some people just aren't ready to upgrade yet. What do you think, Ben?
I would say it's less the people that aren't ready to upgrade. A lot of the older devices are deployed in businesses,
That too.
especially when it comes to the serving and restaurant spaces, where you're seeing a lot of those older iPhones still deployed as on server POS systems.
Yep. Jeff, any thoughts on that?
First off, it's great that Apple actually does this.
Yeah.
Because
Keep it
a lot
safe.
of companies would not.
Mhm.
Android.
Then when I see stuff like this, it just baffles me that there are so many people just out on the internet that bag on Apple and say Apple intentionally makes your products obsolete after 2 years, so you have to buy something new. And which is absolutely not true. And this is yet another instance backing that up. And yet I see it all the time where people are saying, why would you buy something from Apple? You know, they're going to make it obsolete and not work in 2 years, so you have to buy a new thing.
Tell that to my 30-month-old iPhone 12 Pro Max. That is still the fastest device I have ever used.
Yeah, or the 2015 MacBook Pro sitting in my closet that still works.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? What do you think, Mike?
Hey, look, last summer I only just gave up my 2012 Mac Pro. Now, granted, it wasn't running the latest version of Mac OS, but it ran great. It ran great. It was absolutely fine. And if I wanted to, I could hack it and put Ventura if I wanted right now.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't bought a processor upgrade for it. I never got it installed because the Mac Studio came along and I went, ooh, Mac Studio. And I had to, to get that Mac Studio. But they last forever. Even if it's not running the absolute latest version of the operating system, you're still going to get a good 2-3 years extra out of it, I think, and be fine.
Agree. So good for you, Apple. Um, Switching gears a little bit here, talking about streaming. Warner Brothers is now replacing HBO Max with the Max streaming service. They announced plans this week. It's actually yesterday as we record this. To launch a new streaming service that will merge HBO Max and Discovery Plus content. The HBO brand will be eliminated, and the streaming service will just be called Max. HBO's gone under a bunch of different rebranding efforts over the years. They've been a little crazy here when they used to be called HBO Go and HBO Now and then HBO Max. And so now they're trying to merge all this. And they break down some of the new plans, including the ad light or ad free. It's including ultimate ad free if you wanted to really get into your 4K. But the good thing is all the existing HBO Max subscribers, which I am one of them, will be able to just get all this stuff in here. But the good thing is they're going to be adding all that Discovery TV content, including HGTV and Food Network, TLC, ID, and a lot of those. And because they were talking whether or not they were going to merge those two services, since when Warner Discovery bought Warner, that this was going to be absorbed into that. So now you're going to go one big service. It's going to get lots of great content, and it's not for everybody, but I think it's a good thing. What do you think, Ben?
Of all the IP that Warner Brothers Discovery owns, they chose to go with Max.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it is, but it just seems like the management of the more Discovery controlled WB Discovery isn't all that high on what they bought, and seem to keep trying to distance themselves from the legacy brands like HBO, Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, they got rid of a lot of the HBO Max content. And I mean, honestly, if you're one of those guys, if you're one of those viewers who likes the more reality TV based content of the Discovery brands, this is definitely a good thing, since you no longer have to have 2 subscriptions. But for me, they got rid of most of the content in the company that I find that I would want to pay this kind of money for.
Yeah. What do you think, Jeff?
I think that this is a better deal for people who subscribe to Discovery than it is for people who subscribe to HBO Max. Like Ben said, they've cut a lot of content. The way they've put the packages together, you can get Discovery separately, but you can't get HBO separately. You have to get that with Discovery. And what are they thinking with branding? They're taking the single most recognizable name in cable and streaming content.
80s.
And HBO was there when cable started.
Yep.
And they're getting rid of that name. That is ridiculous. That is stupid. And if anyone at Warner or whoever wants to talk to me about why they've made a horrible mistake, I am happy to explain it to them.
Oh.
It's crazy. It'd be like Disney getting rid of the Disney name.
Yeah. And honestly, the funny thing, the property this most coincides with that they own is Cinemax, the lesser of their premium networks.
Yeah, no one subscribes to that. Or very few. Anything you want to add, Mike?
To Jeff's point, find the oldest cable era photo of a motel's sign that says color
Free
TV,
HBO.
color TV, air conditioning, HBO.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every single one of them says that. It doesn't say, oh, free terrestrial TV, free ABC and NBC and CBS.
Yeah.
No, it says HBO, right? You're spot on. Not only are they throwing out HBO, they're throwing out Warner Brothers, they're throwing out, all the names that actually mean anything to anyone for something that Max. What does that mean? Are they trying to confuse us Apple fans? Are they trying to make us think that it has something to do with the Macintosh? Maybe that's what it is, Dave. I don't know.
I mean, it's the exact opposite of the move Paramount made when they acquired CBS All Access.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, it would have been smarter to just call it Warner Brothers.
Why not?
Yeah.
At least it's a name that people know and they know what it means.
Yeah, absolutely. One last story here. The Apple Card savings account is likely going to launch on April 17th. Apple Card savings is going to be available probably starting on April 17th, according to a back-end code in the Apple servers that was uncovered. The code suggests that an iPhone with iOS 16.3 or later will be required to use the feature. If anybody doesn't know that, the Apple Card will be able to open up a high-yield savings account from Goldman Sachs in the Wallet app and on their iPhone and start earning interest on their daily cash balance. Apple is yet to reveal what the account's interest rate will be, but Goldman Sachs' existing Marcus high-yield savings is at 3.75%, so we'll see where that goes. Including the daily cash users will be able to deposit their own funds into the savings account, so it's interesting to see where this goes. I mean, we've talked about this before. Apple is getting into the banking business, and the Apple Card was a start, and I think this is going to be the future. What do you think, Mike?
I'm surprised I waited so long to get an Apple Card. I like the Apple Card. I'm using it all the time now. I don't think I'm going to use the savings account, but hey, anything that can help people save money is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff, what do you think?
I think this is a good thing. It's part of Apple's move into being even more intertwined with our personal lives in a less exploitive way than some other companies do. And the big thing is, Mike, you really did wait too long to get your Apple Card.
You did.
Last July. That's when I got it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, instead of giving you a hard time for waiting so long, I will give you positive praise and say, good for you. Welcome to the team.
Well, it was that or no Mac Studio for Mike. So there you go.
Yeah, it makes it a really easy choice at that point.
And it's almost paid off too.
Nice.
And you have a weapon you can carry around in your wallet.
Yeah, that thing is deadly, isn't it? Actually, mine is still in the box. I treat that box like any Apple box I get. It's still in the original shipping container. I still got the card in there. Yeah. I don't carry the card around.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Ben?
This is definitely a good move for Apple and financial services. Also, the money that is in that savings account, if anybody takes this out, it's more likely to be an Apple purchase. That said, I'm kind of waiting for them to do additional financial services. I'm hoping that an Apple branded checking account with a debit card is coming in the future. Mostly because I'm the one without the Apple Card, and apparently, according to you guys, you can do the Gambit thing with it.
You can totally Gambit your card. Yes. Yes, you can.
It literally takes less than 2 minutes to sign up and get one, Ben. I definitely get it.
Literally. I know they even let you pre-apply for it and not do a credit pull before you actually pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't need another credit card.
Yeah, it's okay. Not for everybody. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the topics for this week. I wanted to really hit this the fact that iOS 16.4.1 was released to everybody this last week, and I can't say enough how important it is to run your updates now, because there were some pretty serious vulnerabilities in here. One of them being was a vulnerability that's going to allow an app to execute arbitrary code with the kernel privileges. And Apple also addressed out of bounds a right issue with improved input validation. So a lot of geeky type stuff, but it's pretty serious vulnerability here. Update it, please, because you will be not you will be sorry if you don't get this updated, right? I'm sure all you guys can agree with that.
Especially
Mac
when it
OS
says active is exploits.
Fix actively exploited vulnerabilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mac OS as well, 13.3.1 that was released, and as we talked about earlier, all the older OSs were updated as well, including Monterey. There's still some people running Monterey with the version before Ventura. So I believe that's 12.6.5. I think that's the latest version for Monterey, if I'm not mistaken, because I'm doing a lot of that update at work here. So we had to make sure our folks that still have to be on Monterey are updated as well. So it's super important to take care of all the security issues that are going on with that. So a couple of things that they also did is they fixed Siri response issues as far as any of the other bugs that was included as well that we just talked about. So they had that released, as well as Mac OS 13.3.1 was, and I was having this problem, is the fact, those of us who use our Apple Watch to unlock our Mac, there was a flaw problem of it not doing it. Because I was really missing it. I really like, I don't know if you guys use that feature. I love it, to be able to unlock my Mac with my watch.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime you have to put your password in, just do a double tap on the watch, and away you go. So they did that. There was also a release of TVOS that came out actually yesterday as we record this, so it was a couple days after. That's HomePod, Jeff's favorite update here, is at 16.4.1, as well as tvOS 16.4.1. According to the release notes from the update on the HomePod, it includes performance and stability improvements, like they always say, but they didn't really give any release notes. Same thing with HomePod. So I'm sure it's the same old with HomePod. It just has some fixes that we don't even know about, right?
Yeah, but clearly not fixes that actually matter.
That really matter, right? Because we would
Especially the
we would
HomePod.
definitely hear about it. Also, a 16.4.1 was having some CarPlay problems. So there is a way to fix it. Some connectivity issues. If your CarPlay stops working for some reason, when you go to 16.4.1, it no longer connects. You can go through and make sure that you're using a genuine made for iPhone Lightning cable. You'd be surprised at how often, and we've said this before, don't use those substandard cables. I never do. I just don't, I don't think it's smart to use them. Either use a legitimate Apple cable, or go with a vendor like Anchor or one of those folks that get it made by iPhone certified. So also check your car's infotainment system menus for CarPlay. Make sure that it's listed and enabled. You can remove CarPlay from your iPhone and your vehicle and then set it back up from scratch if you have to. That's always a pain, but that's the last resort if you have to do that. So unfortunately, there was a bit of a bug, but that kind of goes along with it sometimes with this stuff. And again, we did talk about the old operating systems, but then beta this week is iOS 16.5 beta 2. They did see the second beta this week. Notably, there isn't really a lot of stuff to be notable. They did add a sports tab in the Apple News app, which makes it easier to access sports-focused content. And they also updated a lot, including a new Siri option for starting a screen recording with a voice command, which is awesome, because always fumbling to do that screen recording to go up into the control center to have to start that. Now you can do it as a voice command, which I'm looking forward to that. So, Bennett, did you go into beta? Or you held
Yes.
back? Okay.
Yes.
Because I know you said you were holding back for a bit.
Yeah, I couldn't resist. I will say this. I have been doing this professionally for over a decade.
Right.
I know what to expect. Do not follow me onto the beta.
Yes. We say that every time on the show.
Yeah.
We cover beta, but we say proceed with caution or don't proceed at all, honestly.
Yeah.
unless you
Do
really
not
want
put
to.
there will
beta
be
on
bugs.
mission critical devices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do not do that. Jeff has
But
his
I have to
iPad.
say,
Go ahead.
so far it seems pretty stable.
Good. Good to hear. So I'm running it on this iPhone XR that I use as a camera. It's been pretty flawless. I have an older iPad Pro that I run iPad OS on it as well. So, and Mike, I'm assuming you don't dabble in beta, right?
Not generally. Once in a while for Mac. I had an older Mac that I could throw betas onto when I wanted to test them out, but no longer supported. So, no, I'm afraid I really don't. This is my one and only little tiny aluminum and glass device that I carry around with me. So, going to what Jeff and Ben said about mission critical devices and beta software,
Right.
I don't mix the two.
Nope, I agree with you 100%. I don't either. And my 14 Pro Max stays on the current version until it's ready for prime time. WatchOS 9.5 was released to developers and to public. And now, by the way, this is out for the public beta as well as developers for all these that I'm mentioning. Nothing really mentioned that's included as of now for the watch. So that's out. And then tvOS, I believe, 16.5 was released. And again, same thing. They don't disclose much. Apple has done a much better job as far as simplifying iOS 16.4 beta installation methods by expanding it to the latest versions of macOS, Ventura 13.4, and watchOS 9.5 betas. It's a new beta installation method for those who are enrolled in the developer program or you've used the public beta option. They now have a place in the software update where you can turn on beta updates on, beta updates off, and then it'll show in the list which one you want to use. The article in the show notes shows this. So this really kind of a welcoming thing to see, because it was either all or nothing. You had to put the profile on the device in order for it to install. This way, now you have a bit of a control of whether or not you want to install right away.
Yeah,
So
it's a lot easier.
Have you tried that?
Yeah, it's a lot easier to go back and forth between the beta and stable releases with this method than the old profile method, which was kind of a pain to install. And then when you're done with it, you have to remember where in the hell the settings it is.
Right.
So,
I am curious when they add I'm sorry, Dave. When did they add that beta updates feature? Because I'm curious when they added that, only because I forgot I was in the developer program at one point. I guess I still am, because it started showing up on my phone. And I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. Ain't gonna do it, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The profile. I forget whether it's 16.1 or 16.2.
Is that, wow, it's been that long.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's been the last couple versions of it. So then there wouldn't be a place for not having rumors here, but the Mac rumors article here also is Apple is now testing iOS 16.6 ahead of the iOS 17 at WWDC. They're currently testing it internally, according to the website's analytics log that Mac Rumors says. It's provided to be a reliable indicator of the upcoming update. It's probably going to be likely the last one of the updates in the iOS 16 cycle. So we got Dub coming out in June, so we got a couple months here. So it'll be too early to tell really what that's going to happen. So we'll see where that goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about iCloud Keychain. How do you set it up? How do you? I've been kind of. I don't know what you guys think about iCloud Keychain. I mean, it's good to have it synced, but it's also can be a nightmare with that. Have you guys ever any experiences using iCloud Keychain? Are you using it, Mike? Are you using it?
As a password manager, or as a way to store my wireless connection passwords? And Safari passwords and things like that.
Yeah, the passwords, because just like the keychain on the Mac.
Yeah, I don't use it as a password manager like Apple now wants us to. Instead, I do have it on. I do let Safari sync to it. I do let, obviously I'm storing my wireless passwords in there, which is nice when you open up your laptop and some new Wi-Fi connection point that you connected to with your phone now suddenly works on the laptop. That's awesome. I like that. But it is problematic. It's not super reliable, in my opinion. I have had numerous occasions. In fact, here at home, my iPhone keeps forgetting the password. And I have completely wiped it out. I've re-added it. It just keeps dropping it. And I type it in. It says, cool, we're good to go again. And then a couple of weeks later, it's forgotten it. So it's not super reliable, but
I agree.
It works. It does what it's supposed to do, I guess.
I agree. Article we have in the show notes for my download blog is it goes through some of the steps, and during the device setup you can turn it on, or you can turn it off and turn it on later. And this is available for both iPhone, iPad, as well as the Mac. Turning that keychain later. I mean, I'm using both. I have one password, and I also have iCloud keychain. I have the passwords in both places. I feel they're both secure, and it's nice. That's kind of a nice to have to be in. I think us geeks like to be in all environments we can be in. The cool thing is that Apple does allow you to have both of them turn on at the same time, so you can make a choice. Do you want to get the password from your iCloud keychain, or you want to get, in our case, one password? So you can definitely go in there and do some configurations. So going and tapping in iCloud and going to passwords and keychain, you can turn on the sync, turn off the sync, whatever you choose. So you do have granular control on it. Same thing with the Mac under the Apple ID. So it will save all those passwords whenever you need them. Again, I've had some frustrations where I may have changed the password, and then a lot of times it doesn't sync because I find one password does a much better job of when you have to change a password that it's going to see it and tell you, okay, do you want to change this, and then it syncs it. Versus iCloud keychain can tend to be a challenge when it comes to using that. So is that how you do it, Jeff? As far as your passwords, you use both, or do you use only one?
I use both. One password is my primary system for everything.
Me too.
iCloud keychain. That's Mike alluded to how I'm using that without even realizing he did that. Everything that's like a network login, all of that kind of stuff that I want to have across all my devices so that they just connect to the things they're supposed to transparently. That's where iCloud keychain comes in. And I'm not having trouble with it, which is not me saying, well, I'm not having trouble with it, so I don't know what your problem is. It's just me saying, I think I'm one of the lucky people then, because it works fine for me. But then I guess the other side of it is, what could go wrong that would be a problem for me actually isn't something I need to worry about with iCloud keychain, because everything, including the passwords that are in iCloud keychain, I have all of that stuff in one password.
Okay. Yeah, me too. What about you, Ben? Are you using both, or are you using one?
I'm using primarily one password. I haven't had a lot of success with iCloud keychain. It's actually locked me out on it with an iCloud bug before.
Ooh, ouch.
But yeah. But I mean, in addition to the bug, I don't think the current interface for that is all that user friendly.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it really needs its own app.
I wish it did.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. I'm amazed that it's still this hidden sort of app thing that isn't really all that user friendly.
I mean, especially when it's more than good enough for everyday users as their password manager.
Yeah. So check it out to see if it's something that's good for you. But if you don't want to use it, you don't have to. You can have it turned off, and it just for those of you who use one password, or any password manager for that matter, Bitwarden or any others, those might be more more for your liking than using the keychain. But I like doing to both. What do you think, Mike?
I was just going to raise one interesting point that I stumbled across as I was experimenting with other password managers.
Mhm.
That if you want to autofill passwords on your phone, I think it's only on the phone. I don't believe this is the case on the Mac because you're running it in your menu bar otherwise. But you can only have one other in addition to iCloud passwords and keychain. In other words,
Right.
you can have iCloud passwords and keychain and one password,
Right.
or you can have Strongbox, or you can have Bitwarden, or you can but you can't have them all turned on, which I think is a little, well, I don't think it's a little, I know it's a little disappointing. I was disappointed when I found that out because I really hoped that I could, compare different password managers live, as it were. How is this one working alongside this one? How does that work when I'm filling in passwords versus this one? That sort of thing. And when you can only have one or the other turned on, that makes that kind of comparison a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
But that's the only real downfall to how Apple does it on the iPhone.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely agree. So check that out, and you guys you have to decide which one you want, but we all recommend 1Password as your primary password manager of choice. Next topic I want to talk about here is I found this interesting. VPN free on an iPhone. Apparently, the browser Opera is now rolling out a huge new security feature for everyone who uses it on the iPhone or the iPad. We always talk about how important it is to use a VPN when there's plenty of options out there with security. But Opera has now made it available on the iPhone, on the iPad, VPN. You can check that out. They did have an early access program, but it's now starting to be rolled out to everybody who wants it in that browser. You can download Opera now, and it is free. Of course, you probably would see VPN there in a bit, but I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical about this because free and VPN like this kind of
those typically don't fit well together
because there's so many of those. Okay, free VPN. Okay, and yeah, no. I personally use Surfshark. I like them a lot. I know people use ExpressVPN. I know you use TunnelBear, I believe, Jeff.
Yep.
So worth to check it out. I mean, I was never really a big, huge Opera browser fan. I mean, there's so many other browsers out there, obviously. What do you think, Ben? Is it something that you would use?
I don't know yet. I'll have to look into it. I know Opera has been a browser that has prided itself on its privacy.
Right.
That said, this is a premium feature that they are giving away for free. There's nothing that's ever free.
Yeah, exactly. Like we just said with VPN.
I have to wonder how they're paying for this.
You have to wonder. You definitely have to wonder.
I think this is a nice feature. However, this is not nearly as useful as a lot of the articles that I've seen about this are making it out to be, because this is a VPN in the Opera browser. What you really need is a VPN that works for your entire connection. And this does not give you that. So since it falls short of what you really need a VPN for, I fear is going to create a false sense of security for some people who use this.
Yeah.
And so my advice is, if you want to play with this, just so you can see how it works, if you're already an Opera user, okay, now you have a new thing in Opera when you're using the Opera browser. Okay, fine. But get a proper VPN and use that when you need a VPN, so all of your data is tunneled. And as far as how are they paying for this, I don't know, but I believe Opera has other business level operations, so they're probably paying for the VPN for individual users through that.
Yeah, probably makes sense. But we'll investigate it further. This just got announced a day or two ago as we're recording this, so I haven't had a chance to play with it. Did you have any other thoughts, Mike?
Opera on the desktop is a Chromium browser. That's it. That's what it is. So if you've used Chrome, if you've used Edge, if you've used Brave, you've used Opera. They're all the same. When I need to turn to a Chromium browser on my desktop, I turn to Opera. That's what I use. And I have used the VPN feature on the desktop many, many times, and it works great. To Jeff's point, it's not system wide, but that's not what I use it for. I don't feel as if I need a VPN to tunnel to some other location to protect my IP address. IP addresses are just a fact of life on the internet, so big deal. I don't care if someone knows my IP address because it's my ISP's IP address, not mine.
Exactly.
But that said, what I have used it for is I happen to have my home internet provider is T-Mobile Home Internet, and it's constantly cycling IP addresses. Constantly. You can watch it cycling IP addresses as you're going along. It's very weird. It doesn't interfere with Hulu or Netflix or anything like that, but it does interfere with some services I need to sign into professionally that depend upon that IP address being consistent once you've signed in. And once you sign in, if it changes, it logs you out again. It's very annoying. So I have turned to the VPN and Opera, turned it on, set myself up to come from, I don't know, California or wherever, and it keeps me consistently connected to the services I need to connect to. So it does its job. It does exactly what it's supposed to be, or supposed to do, I should say. And it works fine. It does what it says on the tin. So I'm happy with it when I need it. But on a day-to-day basis, I don't typically use VPN. So having it built into a browser for the times that I need it are great. What I did use before that was TunnelBear. And TunnelBear is also free, or freemium, I should say. And I have paid for it in the past for when I used to do a little bit more traveling and needed wanted connections to servers and client devices when I'm connecting to them via an open, unsecured connection at a hotel somewhere. That's where I might use it, but I don't have a need for that anymore. So for the times I do need it, it works great. You just click a little button, push the little virtual power button, turn it on, tell it where you want to appear you are coming from, and you're connected. Works great.
Yeah, absolutely. So check it out. We'll all actually try it out, and then we'll come back and report back to see how the experience was with it. So one last topic I wanted to hit here, and the reason I brought this up is because I've been tasked to look for some new iPad keyboard folio cases. There's so many of them out there, and I've had the Apple one for years, the Magic Keyboard, which is okay. What I'm not thrilled about with the Apple Magic Keyboard is the fact that it can dislodge very easily. It comes off of the magnetic backing of it, and then of course there's no way other than putting the Apple Pencil in the on top of the iPad. You can easily lose that pencil very, very easily with the Apple Magic Keyboard. Plus, you're paying a premium for the Apple Magic Keyboard. It's $349 for the 12.9 inch, and it's about $199 for the 11-inch Pro. Well, also that one also works with the Air iPad Air as well. But there are a lot of great alternatives, and I've seen these guys before. A lot of these at CES, and I've also looked at them in the past here. So the first one that came to mind was Bridge. I think Bridge, that's BRYDGE. They've come out with some really great iPad keyboards that's out there. Specifically, the one that I think that stands out is the one that's called the Bridge Max Plus. That one is magnetic, but it does have quite a solid keyboard compared to the Apple Magic Keyboard. And it's Bluetooth wireless technology. It does give you some really good connections with that, and I think that's one of the ones that stands out as far as with Bridge. The other one is Logitech, and I think Logitech probably is going to be my choice here as far as the iPad the Folio keyboard here, and it is just really a great case, and also the fact of the matter is that it actually has an actual case. So the iPad is going into a case, the keyboard is attached to it, and it's really a case, because that's especially people who are going to be taking it out all the time. If you're out in the field, you're doing things. If they're workers who they're going to go out into a location that they got to work on an iPad to be able to work on it. You want to have a rugged case that's going to protect it. That it scares me. I mean, I wouldn't probably use that like in that application, but the Magic Keyboard through Apple is not one that's really a safe thing to travel with. It's good for working at your desk and carrying it. It closes and it protects the iPad, but I felt always I was so worried about losing my pencil and or falling somewhere. And even though the magnet's pretty strong, I mean, I think out of all the ones of the cases I've looked at, I think the Logitech was probably the best choice. Do you guys use these keyboards at all on your iPads at all? Or
Yes, I do.
Which one do you have, Ben?
I have, well, should I say now my mother has, since she permanently has borrowed my iPad Air. I have the Folio Touch on that. I absolutely love it. It offers great protection. My mom and my niece and nephews are very hard on equipment. It has kept that iPad safe. I think the keyboard on that is fantastic. And why small, the touchpad works great too.
Yeah.
It
is the best.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. I mean, the Apple Magic Keyboard is a little bit more flashy, but this is more than perfectly adequate to turn your iPad into a true laptop replacement for most people at a price less than half of what Apple's charging.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I definitely think it's worth it. As far as that goes.
Yeah. The other thing on it, I've had that for almost 2 years now. It has been 100% reliable.
That's great. Yeah, $159.99 for a Folio Touch for the 11-inch iPad Pro as well as the Air. I mean, you really can't beat it. And I believe they also have a version for the 12.9-inch too. For those who have the bigger iPad, a little more money, but same thing. I think it's a really great choice. Do you guys use keyboard folios at all, Jeff?
I'm still using the older Apple keyboard folio, the one where not like the new one that Apple makes. So mine doesn't have a trackpad in it. Yeah. I was ready to buy the Magic Keyboard with trackpad thing built in. And then the pandemic hit and we stopped going places, and it didn't make sense for me to buy that. Yeah. What made that one worth it to me over the others is that it lifts the iPad up and it puts the screen at a better viewing height for me. And and that was actually the killer feature for me with that. And yeah, so I don't know, maybe one of these days I'll look for someone selling one used or open box purchase or something.
You just can't go wrong with this Logitech. And I even talk about, I mean, I do have a case. I use the Zugu ZUGU case that's on my iPad. I love that case. It doesn't have a keyboard, but it protects it so nicely. It has two places to put your Apple Pencil. It's magnetic, and it has a container that actually keeps the pencil in place, as well as it's got a back elastic strap that the pencil can just slide into in the back of the case too. So
why doesn't Apple include something to hold the pencil?
It's so crazy.
That to me is crazy. I
so
do
easy. Lose.
Like have to dig through the bottom of my bag all the time.
Exactly.
To find the Apple Pencil.
Did you have one, Mike? Do you have an iPad keyboard case?
You know, one of the things I love about Amazon is how easy they make it to go back and search for purchases you've made in the past. I was trying to remember the name and model of the Logitech keyboard combo case thingy that I bought for my iPad many years ago. I mean, I looked it up. This was 2018. I purchased this. Now, you know, Dave, and I think Jeff might know too, that the iPad is integral to the recording system at MacStock.
That's
every
right.
year. And I wanted something, since I'm not sitting there running it, I wanted something that the person who's volunteering and helping out with the cameras can sit there and not only be able to touch the screen, but have an actual keyboard to type on that's not going to get in the way when a virtual keyboard slides up. So I purchased, and I was very happy with it, this slim combo keyboard and case for my older iPad Pro. I love it. I think it's great. One of the things I really like about it is the backlit keyboard on it, which I think is just phenomenal. Now, like the one that Jeff was talking about, this doesn't have a trackpad. It doesn't have any of that. But, let's be honest, mouse control on an iPad's kind of ineffectual anyway.
Yeah.
From my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of it. Not a big fan of it.
Issues.
It has its uses. It's basically a virtual finger is really what it is.
Yeah.
But I really like this. It's a great case. The only thing, if I were to ding it on anything, and the reason it's not on my iPad all the time, is it's heavy. It adds a lot of weight to the iPad. Even my standard case, which doesn't have a keyboard, I took it off the other week because I wanted to. I don't remember why I took it off. I took it off for some reason, and I've left it off. It's been now like 2 weeks because my iPad is like a quarter of the thickness it was when I had this case on it. I was like, wow, this is a really nice, thin, lightweight device. Who knew? That's like a leather case with a pleather case with a little flap on the front of it. And it served its purpose. But I think now the iPad is going to live sans case these days. And then when I need to have that keyboard, I'll slap it back into this Logitech Slim Combo. But it was a great case. And I absolutely, like you said, I think all of you said, I stand by Logitech keyboards and cases and mice and everything. They make great stuff.
Can't beat the price. So glad to hear all you guys having given some opinions on cases. I think that was very valuable to everybody who's looking to get something like this. I'll definitely have all the links in the show notes to all the different products we talked about this week on these cases. But that was a very good segue you're saying about MacStock. We had Barry Folk on last week, and he talked about the Midwest Mac Barbecue, which we're super excited that he brought that back. And Mike, tell us about MacStock. We've been talking about it for like the last forever, and then now I got you back on. I wanted you to tell everybody more about MacStock.
What do people need to know that you haven't already said, Dave? You have been such a wonderful cheerleader of it, not only this year, but since the beginning, really. And I definitely appreciate that. And it was great having Jeff on for Mac Eyes Only the other week, and we could talk about it a little bit then. And
that was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on for that.
Yeah, share some insights into your
great
talk.
Show.
Yeah, it's great, and everybody has just been so supportive of MacStock. I don't know what I can say that hasn't been said, but we just have a phenomenal lineup of presenters this year. We have Mr. Jeff Gamet, we have Mr. Dave Ginsburg, which is fantastic. But Wally Chewinski is back with his MacStock Short Film Festival, which I'm super excited about. We've been wanting to do the second version of the Short Film Festival since 2019 when we did the first one. Yeah. And it just has not worked out to have it for various reasons, let's just say. Dave Hamilton and John F. Brown are going to be there doing Mac Geek Gab live on stage Saturday afternoon, which is going to be a blast. But then we have all the regular presentations as well. We have Chuck Joyner is back again. We have Mike Schmitz back again. We have Allison Sheridan back again. And then we have a number of folks who have not presented at MacStock in a while. Kirsten Sia is going to be back again, and she always does a fantastic job with her talks. Let's see who else. Oh, and we have new presenters too. Brittany Smith is going to be presenting at MaxTalk this year.
Oh, that's a new that's
Oh,
a
wow,
that's a
that's
scoop
cool.
out there. We didn't know
That
that.
is, I'm so excited because Brittany and I have been
Oh my
trying to get
gosh.
her on MaxTalk stage for at least 3 years now. So
She's-
I'm
And
super,
you
super
finally wore
excited.
her down.
You really
Finally
did.
wore her down, yes. But Brittany's
That's an
going to be there.
exclusive.
It is an exclusive. Yep. I'm planning to announce this on the next live stream, but you get it here first, Dave.
All right.
And then Rachel Schmitz is going to be presenting this year.
Oh,
and
nice. Mike's wife.
That it is Mike's wife, as a matter of fact. Yes.
Yes.
She has her own presentation she's going to be doing.
That's
and
awesome.
then we have another new presenter. So Rachel's a new presenter, Brittany's a new presenter, and Jill McKinley is a new presenter as well. And some of the folks who follow Allison's blogs and podcasts may recognize Jill from there. Allison highly recommended Jill for MaxTalk this year. Jill said yes, and so she's going to be on stage at MaxTalk this year too. So we really have a fantastic
Oh my
lineup.
God. What an
I
lineup.
already mentioned Mac Geek Gab. I already mentioned the Short Film Festival. You mentioned Barry's Midwest Mac Barbecue. I mean, what more can people want? This is MaxTalk is back, baby. This is going to be a
best bit ever.
fantastic year for MaxTalk. I'm
all
super
that
excited
and
for
Dave Ginsburg. What more could you want at a conference?
it. All that, Dave Ginsburg and Jeff Gamet.
Yeah. Both of us on one stage.
We're gonna
Yeah.
tear that place down
Absolutely.
in a good way. In a good way.
In a good way. In a good way.
And just tell,
Yeah.
and just tell everybody when it is and where to go.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose folks might want to know that, huh? Well, it is July 22nd and 23rd, which is a Saturday, Sunday. Barry's Midwest Mac Barbecue is a couple days before that. That is on the 20th, right? That's the 2 days, Thursday.
Yes. Thursday.
20th is Midwest Mac Barbecue. Not only are you asking me to do math, Dave, but you're asking me to do math backwards. So, 22nd and 23rd is MaxTalk. Midwest Mac Barbecue is the 20th. So we just have a wonderful, wonderful, full, extended weekend for everyone. Great time. And anyone who wants to learn more about MaxTalk can go to max.conferenceandexpo.com and or max.conference.com will get you there too. You can read up about all of our presenters. We are currently in the process of getting the descriptions for everyone's talks ready. And then what I like to do is kind of get the talks grouped together in a logical, makes sense kind of way. So once I have everybody's description, we're going to be filling out the schedule. But as far as the schedule is concerned, the Short Film Festival is going to take place 2 days, Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon.
Nice.
And
Awesome.
yeah, that's going to be awesome. So anyone listening to this, if you're coming to MaxTalk and you want to take part in that, it is open to everyone. Go to MaxTalk's website, and under the conference link, you're going to find the Short Film Festival link or MaxTalk Film Fest link. Just let us know you want to submit a short film. It's only 2.5 minutes. Everyone can do it. You're going to have a blast. Don't worry if you've never even done it before. Anything you put together is going to be warmly accepted and given the red carpet treatment by Wally. I guarantee it.
Yes,
He just loves doing that sort of thing so much.
Yes.
So yeah, and then Mac Geek Gab is going to wrap up the end of the day Saturday. So that's just a great way to get people prepped for Sunday. So yeah, fantastic lineup of presenters.
We're back. Like you said, we're back, baby.
We're back. We're back. Yeah, it's
Now we just got to get Ben to be there. Ben's you got to make it out there.
I'm definitely leaning that way.
Good.
Yeah, I think. Well, I got the impression, Ben, that you've been somewhat MaxTalk curious for a few years now.
Oh yes, very curious.
So we just need to.
Then something always happens, like
like life
life
gets in the way.
Yeah,
Life.
yeah, bills, pandemics.
Yeah.
That
You know
type of thing.
family, career, life in
yeah.
general, super important stuff. You should never put any of that behind MaxTalk. But if you can, definitely make it out. It's going to be a great time.
Yes, it definitely will be. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it, and we appreciate it because we love MaxTalk, and we'll keep talking about it and get more people registered. Like you said, go to MaxTalk, conferenceandexpo.com. It's a bargain. For all the stuff you're going to be getting for 2 straight days, you definitely going to have something to really enjoy. And
sign up and join us. Yeah, it's going to be a great time.
Please do. So with that, thank you. And let's go ahead and wrap things up for this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can find us on Twitter at InTouchWithIOS, as well as Mastodon at InTouchWithIOS. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We would really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we are live streaming on YouTube, which is usually on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/intouchwithios. It's great to see Webb, Bixby, and everybody else that was in the chat tonight, so you can chat live with us during that time. You also can watch the live stream. I always keep that up, as well as any of the past shows are on YouTube in the podcast area here. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we talk about are flipped into this magazine. The link is in the show notes. And then you can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg. You can find me on Mastodon at DaveG65 at mastodon.cloud, on Twitter as well at DaveG65. And Mike Potter, thank you for being here this week. Always love having you on the show. Where can people find you?
Well, you very generously just let me tell everyone about MaxDoc, but MaxDoc Conference and Expo.com is where you can find me and MaxDoc. For MacEyesOnly.com is where you can find my podcast, which we are now also recording live on YouTube the 2nd and 4th Friday every month. And Eric and I are having an absolute blast with that.
Great show.
And on Mastodon is where you'll find me. So you'll find me at tooting.ninja / for Mac Eyes Only, or also at tooting.ninja at MaxDoc Expo. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. And Ben Rathick, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Where people can find you?
Well, you can find me at Ben Rathig on your social media of choice. I'm pretty easy to find there. You can find me at my website, rathig.tech. And you can also find me on Chuck Joner's show, In Touch with iOS, and annoying Jeff Gamet Thursdays and Fridays on the British Tech Network.
Oh, you're funny. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it.
You do not annoy me that much. No, you don't.
Jeff Gam. Speaking of Jeff Gamet, Jeff, thanks for being here. Not last, but not least, certainly not least. Tell everybody where they can find you.
On the various socials as Jay Gamet, Mastodon, and Instagram. That's where I'm most active right now. Okay, then the shows. With most of you on Chuck Joyner's Mac Voices Live on Tuesdays. Yeah. I guess. Oh, Mike, you're like the only person that I don't see there regularly. Well, Chuck should fix that. Chuck should fix that.
He begs, he pleads, he cries, and still I'm a rock.
He's just a cold man.
Cold Stone Mike. That's it. That's my nickname, I guess.
All right. So until we wear Mike down, he's not on Mac Voices Live. All right. Then and then on Thursdays, I'm the long-standing interim host on the big show. Excuse me. Same thing on Fridays for the Mac show, long-standing interim host. Thursday evenings with all of you on Dave's show. And then also on the Context Machine, Branch Chaffin and I have teamed up again. And that's either a great thing or total trouble, depending on your perspective.
So you are the Phil Collins of the Mac show.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I'm kind of like the Phil Collins of the Mac
He was
show.
the interim lead singer after Peter Gabriel left.
Yeah. And until Ewan is able or willing
Or willing
to come back to the Mac Show and the Big Show, I will continue to interim host and
We love it.
continue to introduce myself as the interim host.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back again soon. Thanks, guys.
Yes. And Jeff,
I
you
don't know
must
what the
now-
hell happened. My Rodecaster just shut off. And when you guys are telling me my AirPod, I hope I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen to that. My mic's gonna probably sound like crap.
Well,
during that small short session there.
I mean, it's obvious you're not on the correct mic. It will be fine. It will annoy the hell out of you, but it'll be fine.
well, the problem is that since I record the Rodecaster as a separate track, it's not. It's it's going to be silent. So I'm going to have to.
So you have to do like an interpretive dance.
I have to go to the recording, and that's why we got a backup.
Oh, dang. Now I wish I had pressed record.
No,
For you.
that's
I'm sorry.
that's why I record on Zoom myself, and then I also have it on YouTube. YouTube's my last resort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be fine. I'll just go grab the recordings and
We always used
Zoom
to
does
do
the separate. Zoom does a separate audio channel. So, but thanks.